Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In Chinese history, the life of the last emperor of the Qing dynasty, Puyi, is filled with legendary twists and turns. At the age of 3, he became the emperor of the Qing dynasty. However, before the outbreak of the Xinhai Revolution, Puyi was merely a little emperor living in the deep palace, far removed from the changes of the outside world. He was almost completely unaware of the lives of his country and people. The outbreak of the Xinhai Revolution awakened this seemingly stable little emperor from his sweet dream, opening a new door to his life and leading him through a series of fateful twists that no other emperor could have imagined. It is worth mentioning that Puyi did not leave the Forbidden City immediately after the Xinhai Revolution, as many people believe. After the revolution broke out, Puyi abdicated the throne, and logically, he should have left the Forbidden City and started a new life. But in reality, things were not so simple. At the time, although Puyi had already abdicated, many people in society still held a deep admiration and respect for the emperor. The government of the Republic of China dared not take overly harsh measures against him. To avoid causing discontent, the government provided some privileges to Puyi and the royal family. Specifically, the government would grant Puyi an annual allowance of 4 million taels of silver. And Puyi could continue to live in the Forbidden City and maintain his previous lifestyle. Faced with such generous treatment, Puyi was naturally very pleased. He had money to spend every day, didn't have to worry about the affairs of the country, and could still live in the palace he was familiar with. Such a life was undoubtedly very comfortable. However, this seemingly perfect life underwent a dramatic change in 1924. In 1924, the Jifeng War broke out, and on October 23, Feng Yuxiang's army captured Beijing and quickly launched the famous Beijing coup. After the coup, on November 4 of the same year, Feng Yuxiang ordered the Beijing garrison commander Lu Zhonglin and the chief of police Zhang He to discuss with the provisional government, deciding to amend the preferential terms signed between the Republic of China government and the Qing court that year. The revised terms clearly stipulated that Puyi and the royal family must immediately leave the Forbidden City and no longer enjoy the privilege of living there. After the revised terms were signed, the next morning at 9 o'clock, Garrison Commander Lu Zhonglin, leading a dozen soldiers and police officers, entered through the Shenwu Gate. On their way, they encountered Xiaoying, a minister of the Imperial Household Department. Lu Zhonglin showed him the newly signed terms and demanded that Puyi move out of the Forbidden City that very day, while also handing over the Jade Seal, a symbol of imperial power. At that time, Puyi was having fruit with his wife, Wanrong, in the inner palace. Upon hearing the news, he had no intention of leaving the Forbidden City immediately. First, the Forbidden City was a place where he had grown up, and he had deep emotional ties to it. Secondly, Puyi thought he had accumulated too many belongings in the Forbidden City to be able to move out in a single day. However, Lu Zhonglin gave Puyi no opportunity to resist. He loudly warned Puyi that if he didn't leave immediately, the cannons on Jingshan Hill would fire. In the end, Puyi reluctantly agreed to leave and moved to the Prince Chun's mansion at Dasheng Bridge. Because Lu Zhonglin used a combination of threats and force to drive Puyi and the royal family out of the Forbidden City, it would be logical for Puyi to harbor resentment toward him. However, surprisingly, in 1961, on the 50th anniversary of the Xinhai Revolution, Puyi was seen warmly embracing Lu Zhonglin for a photo, a moment that left many people deeply moved. According to relevant records, Lu Zhonglin was born on March 12, 1884. His family background was quite prestigious, belonging to a prominent family in Hebei. There was a relative from the same clan, Lu Chuanlin, who served as the Grand Minister of Military Affairs in the late Qing dynasty. At the age of 4, Lu Zhonglin was adopted by his uncle and entered a private school to study. Although he participated in the Imperial examination in 1905 and failed to pass, This did not have a significant impact on his career. He later worked as a teacher in Luo's Wangpu village in his hometown. In 1906, Lu Zhonglin joined the 6th Brigade of the new army and began his military career. In 1908, through his uncle's introduction, he joined the Beiyang 1st Mixed Brigade in Xinmin, Liaoning. At that time, revolutionary ideas had already spread widely within the Beiyang army. And young officers like Feng Yuxiang, Wang Jinming, and Shi Tsongyun formed the Martial Studies Society. They used the new recruits' camp as their activity center. After Lu Zhonglin joined, he gradually became influenced by the anti-Qing revolutionary ideas. In September 1910, the unit Lu Zhonglin served in was reorganized into the 20th Brigade. And he was appointed as the adjutant of the 39th Mixed Brigade, 80th Battalion, where he gained the trust of his commanding officer, Che Zhen. In 1911, with the outbreak of the Wuchang Uprising, some young officers in the 20th Brigade launched the Luanzhou Uprising. Although the uprising failed, and figures like Wang Jinming and Shi Tsongyun were killed, Feng Yuxiang was captured, but fortunately, Lu Zhonglin escaped under Che Zhen's protection. He was then reassigned as the deputy battalion commander of the 2nd Battalion in the 39th Brigade of the 20th Division. In 1915, the 39th Brigade, led by Wu Xiangzhen, was expanded into the 4th Mixed Brigade. And Lu Zhonglin continued to serve as deputy battalion commander. At that time, Yuan Shikai sought to restore the monarchy and sent the 4th Mixed Brigade to Sichuan to resist Kai Yi's army, the National Protection Army. In early 1916, the 4th Mixed Brigade was defeated by the forces of Kai Yi and Lu Yunfeng. Lu Zhonglin's 2nd Battalion was placed under the command of Feng Yuxiang's 16th Mixed Brigade. Afterward, Lu Zhonglin followed Feng Yuxiang and participated in several key battles, gradually rising to prominence in the military and earning promotions. In 1916, after Yuan Shikai's death, Duan Qirui's power rapidly expanded, and he dismissed Feng Yuxiang from his post as brigade commander, appointing Yang Guitang, a subordinate of Feng Yuxiang, as the new brigade commander. Lu Zhonglin subsequently held various positions such as ordnance officer and artillery battalion commander. In 1917, when Zhang Sun attempted to restore the monarchy, Feng Yuxiang's forces, under the ineffective leadership of Yang Guitang, invited Feng Yuxiang to return to command. Upon Feng's return to Langfang, he led the entire force to issue a proclamation to overthrow Zhang Sun's restoration efforts, ultimately succeeding in defeating the restoration forces. In 1918, Feng Yuxiang was appointed as the military governor of Xiangxi, stationed in Changde, Hunan. At this time, Lu Zhonglin served as the commander of the artillery regiment and the commander of the training battalion, responsible for training soldiers. This played a crucial role in the future professionalization of Feng Yuxiang's army, and helped nurture many outstanding officers, such as Zhang Zizhong. In 1921, Feng Yuxiang's 16th Mixed Brigade was expanded into the 11th Division of the Beiyang Army, and Lu Zhonglin was appointed as the artillery regiment commander. In October 1922, Feng Yuxiang served as the military inspector at Nanyuan in Beijing, where his force was organized into 1 division and 3 mixed brigades. Lu Zhonglin was promoted to brigade commander of the 22nd Infantry Brigade. Lu Zhonglin's military career was filled with significant historical moments. He always followed in the footsteps of Feng Yuxiang, participating in many important military actions and historical events. In his later memoirs, Lu Zhonglin detailed how he expelled Puyi and his entourage from the Forbidden City. On that day, 5 cars lined up in a row. I was in the first car, with Puyi and the Minister of the Interior, Xiaoying, in the second. Puyi's concubines and relatives took the third and fourth cars, and people like Zhang Bai sat in the last car. We left the Forbidden City and headed straight for the Prince Chun Mansion, referred to as the Northern Mansion by the Qing court. When the car stopped in front of the Prince Chun mansion, Puyi got out, and it was the first time I met him, shaking hands and exchanging pleasantries. I asked him, "Puyi, will you still call yourself emperor in the future, or do you plan to live as an ordinary citizen?" Puyi replied, "Since I have accepted the revised conditions for the Qing court, I will, of course, abolish the imperial title and be willing to live as a common citizen of the Republic of China." I nodded in agreement. "Since you choose to be an ordinary citizen, as a soldier, I have the responsibility to protect you. I will inform my subordinates to ensure your safety." At that moment, Zhang Bai, standing beside us, joked, "Since you're now a citizen of the Republic of China, you're qualified to run for president." We all laughed lightly, then shook hands and bid farewell. According to informed sources, Liu Zhonglin's former residence is located at 18 Dali Road, Heping District, Tianjin, and was built during the Republic of China period. It is a two-story brick and wood structure in the English style, with a red-tiled roof and facing south. The building's facade features a high staircase and an arched main door, making it quite elegant. The courtyard is shaded by trees, providing a tranquil environment. And the layout is simple yet refined, with an overall style that is understated but elegant. Currently, the building is still being used as a residential home. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.